Good, happy Sunday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Sunday evening, so let's begin. First up, man killed, woman injured in boating accident near Bear Island on Lake Winnipesaukee. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
This is the Chevy Trax, the Chevy Equinox, the all-new Chevy Blazer, and the roomy Chevy Traverse. No matter what you're looking for in an SUV, Chevy's got you covered.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Meredith, where one person has died following a boating accident on Lake Winnipesaukee. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Charisse LeClaire. Marine Patrol says the accident happened after 6 o'clock this evening in the area of Bear Island. A man was pronounced dead at the scene. A woman was also injured. Officials say the two are island residents and were coming ashore. The cause is now under investigation.
Due to the conditions where we're going to resume our investigation in the morning, we would ask if any shorefront property owners in the Meredith Neck area or the 3 Mile Bear Island area have heard anything, certainly please call Marine Patrol.
The names of the people involved in the crash are currently being withheld pending family notification.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Major commuter rail disruptions caused by communication system failure, MBTA says. Let's take a listen to that video from WCVB Boston.
You have choices in a divorce even when it doesn't seem like it. Cervisi and Associates will help you find the best path for your family. Whether you're a man or a woman, we'll listen to your story and take you through the process with compassion. Learn more at cervisilaw.com.
I've been commuting into Boston for 22 years. I'm over it.
Countless passengers stranded and delayed on the commuter rail Saturday. Trains in and out of North Station halted sometime before 2:15. The T called the delays significant and riders weren't happy.
When I called, the lady's like, oh, we don't have any information. Sorry, like pretty much like whatever.
Been out here for 3 hours?
Yeah. Hoping things are going to change.
Officials blame the issue on faulty communication equipment, leaving conductors, engineers, and dispatchers unable to talk to each other. And in the interest of safety, that meant the trains had to be stopped. Adding insult to injury, a lighted signal also failed on the Newburyport Brockport line.
Every time we've had a problem.
We were supposed to leave here at 6:55, and the board said 6:20, so now we just can't get home till 8:20.
Trains did resume running around 7 with minor delays, with riders headed to Lowell forced on buses. Transit officials tweeted that normal service was back at around 8:30, and these Endicott students vowed their night wouldn't be ruined.
We don't want to spend our night at a train station. I'm trying to get home. It's Saturday night.
And at the end of the day, they did not do that. As to why, though, these communication systems failed, the spokesperson says that's under investigation. We're live here in Boston. Adam Bagney, WCVB, News Center 5.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Driver facing charges after 2 people die in Litchfield crash. A Litchfield man will face charges after 2-vehicle crash that killed 2 people. Police believe 60-year-old Sean crossed the center line on Hollowell Road in Litchfield when his car struck an oncoming pickup truck Saturday evening. The occupants of that vehicle, 48-year-old Derek and his wife, 40-year-old Stephanie, were killed upon impact, according to police. Sean was transferred to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries and will face charges after he's released. State troopers believe speed and alcohol were factors in the fatal collision. Veterans Day 2019. Here's what's open and closed. Every year on November 11th, Americans honor the 19.6 million active and former U.S. service members who have put on a uniform. This year's Veterans Day takes place on Monday. Here's what's open and closed. Let's begin with the open list first. Target, open regular hours. Walmart, open regular hours. Cordier, open regular hours. Trader Joe's, open regular hours. Movie theaters, open at regular hours. And veterans get perks. Zoos, open regular hours. Malls, most malls and department stores are open. Call your local store to check. FedEx offices will be open and operating with normal pickup and deliveries. UPS will also pick up and deliver packages as normal. National parks across the U.S. are open and won't be charging admission. Discounts. Various businesses have deals and other perks for veterans. The Department of Affairs has a list, and you can click here on that list. We will share this article with you on the Riley King Network Facebook page. Closed. Anything government-owned, including the DMV and public libraries, is most likely will be closed. Banks are generally closed, although ATMs are always available if you need to deposit a check or get some cash. The U.S. Postal Services will not deliver mail Monday, and U.S. postal offices are closed as well. If you plan to visit museums, call to make sure they aren't closed. Some museums are open on Veterans Day, while others aren't. To confirm whether your local favorite sports are open, call ahead to check. Sorry, spots, not sports. Always call and check. That is a good thing to do. Don't buy that this week's governor's race are reasons for Trump to panic. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News this week.
Here's the story. If you win, they're going to make it like ho-hum. And if you lose, they're going to say Trump suffered the greatest defeat in the history of the world. This was the greatest. You can't let that happen to me.
That was President Trump campaigning in Kentucky Monday, ahead of the state's closely watched governor's race this week. The results still too close to call, but the Democratic candidate in the lead there. In a state President Trump won by 30 points in 2016. In nearby Mississippi, the GOP candidate managed a close win, while polls in Louisiana have the Democratic incumbent governor ahead going into a runoff this Saturday. So just how bad of a sign are these governor's races for the GOP? And is it a potential sign of trouble for Republicans in 2020? We asked 538's Nate Silver, do you buy that?
So Republicans did not have a great night on Tuesday, and I don't really buy any White House spin that this was a good set of results for Trump. Kentucky, Mississippi, Louisiana, these are really red states, places where the GOP usually wins easily. But I also don't buy that this is any major reason for Trump to panic. Here's why. Governor's races are quirky, and local factors often matter more than national partisanship. That's how you can end up with Republican governors in states like Massachusetts, Maryland, and even Vermont, and Democratic ones in places like Montana and Kansas. And if you go back to Kentucky, all of the other Republicans running statewide won on Tuesday night. Also, the track record of these states in predicting the next year's presidential election is checkered at best. Louisiana, for instance, has often pointed in the wrong direction. A double-digit win for Democrats in the gubernatorial race there in 2015 obviously did not predict a great year for Democrats in 2016, for example. And look, I get it, it's always good to see people actually voting, but these results mostly told us things we already knew from previous elections and from the polls. It's not a surprise that affluent suburbs are moving toward Democrats or that rural areas are becoming redder, for instance. That's been perhaps the most important and frankly obvious, if you look at the map, political trend of the past decade. Polls also tell us that elections right now are a little bit of an uphill battle for Republicans. Trump's approval rating remains well underwater, and Republicans trail by 5 or 6 points in polls that ask people which party they'd rather see control Congress. As the midterms taught us last year, Trump will win and lose his fair share of races, but he doesn't defy political gravity.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that is it for this Sunday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday evening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. Good night and bye everyone, and I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night and bye.